Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Learning CAD Unit 1, Part C. This is going to be a little house tour, which is basically we're just going to figure out where stuff is in the program, and we're going to learn how to move around in 3D in CAD. Be advised that for this and moving forward, for all CAD, you will need a mouse. Doesn't have to be a good one, but you will need a scroll wheel. Okay, so with that, I'm going to hop right into the program, which I've already loaded up because sometimes it takes a little while. Feel free to pause the video. When you open up SolidWorks, you're going to come up to this screen with a lot of stuff, but it does not really matter that much. And we're just going to click under New. We're going to click Part, and a new part file is going to be opened. Give this a little second to load. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything at the moment. Your screen should look like this. We're going to go over to this little eye up on the toolbar up here, and we're going to click the drop down and go to this. Drop down. Click this little top right icon, hide show primary planes, and it's going to give us some nice planes just so we can kind of see where we're moving around as we're doing it. Okay, so how do you actually move around? So the first movement is pretty simple. You can zoom in and out with the mouse scroll wheel or with the pad. Oops, zoomed a little too much there. With the touchpad. So we can scroll in and out, and then the next big movement is we can do a rotate. So if you hold down that middle mouse wheel, you can rotate around your part in any way that you want to by just dragging around as you're holding down that middle mouse wheel. Lovely. And then the last big movement that we need to know is panning. And we can pan by holding Control and holding down the middle mouse wheel. And now once we hold Control, it will do a pan instead of a rotate. So just middle mouse wheel, rotate. Middle mouse wheel plus Control, pan. So this is really important to being able to see stuff on any different, maybe you need to see this part of your part. Maybe you need to see that part, right? Okay, so that's a basic movement. Oh, and actually one more thing let's go to is the nice little trick here. You can hit the space bar and you get this little weird cube. And whatever face of the cube you click on, it'll put you like squared up to that face. So if I go here, it gives me a nice squared view. Or if I do here, it gives me this kind of diagonal view of the planes. So that's moving around. It might be a little different on a Mac. I'm not quite sure. Feel free to Google stuff. Googling, just like in programming, if you guys have ever done programming, Googling while CADing is like a critical thing to do. You should not be scared to go into Google and say, how do I move around SolidWorks? Or whatever it is you need. You can often find a lot of good resources. Okay, so now that we know how to move, let's just get a little more acquainted with our little environment here. On the left-hand side, we have probably the most important thing in our environment besides the actual objects that we're going to put here. This is called the feature tree on the left. It's called the feature tree because you're going to put features in it, or features will go in it once they are created. And all a feature is just a kind of a part of a part. So if what's a good example here? In this bottle cap, if this bottle cap is a part, maybe the threads would be one feature, and the hole would be another feature, and the top would be another feature. So feature is just kind of one piece of geometry. On the top, we have a bunch of toolbars up here. The features and the sketch toolbar are going to be the main ones that we're going to use, but some of them can be useful in the future, so just know that they exist. And if the astute among you will notice that there's a kind of a parallel here. The sketch and features toolbar are basically how we're going to be doing step 1 and step 2 from our CAD philosophy from last time. So we're going to sketch using the sketch tools, which we'll talk about in the next video. And then we're going to push out into 3D using the features tools, which we'll talk about at the end of this unit. There are some normal kind of file saving options under File. There are extra tools that aren't always shown on this top window. So some tools can only be found up here, but there is also a search option. If you can't find a tool, it actually is a quite good search option. One other thing to note, under the Evaluate tab, the Measure tool can be quite useful. This will just allow you to measure the distances between different parts. If I do this and this, if I do some of these planes, it can tell me they're perpendicular to each other. And they intersect. Pretty neat. But mostly we're going to be on sketch and features. And yeah, that is a little quick tour. There's definitely more to dive into, some stuff on the bottom and the sides, but they're not the most relevant. So